Oh, why hello, new cult members. I'm assuming you're here to get the lore on the lamb and how he's our leader. Well, sit down. Let's get started. No need for introductions. Let's begin. So there was this lamb, right? He was like a prisoner. He was being taken to execution. He was gonna get his head chopped off like the French Revolution. And you wonder, like, damn, what did he do? Like, why is he imprisoned? Only God knows. Then, once he gets killed, God appears. He brings the lambs forth and says, "Hey bro, I saw you just got killed out there. Take this crown. Now whoop some ass." The lamb smiles, and then somehow it comes back to life even though his head was chopped off, and with this new crown proceeds to just beat everyone in the room. Then he frees the prisoners out of their bond and says, "Hey, you could be part of my cult now." They cheer, even though they're gonna be in the same predicament. Then God calls him back and says, "Hey, I like the way that you smacked around those followers. I have a request. Kill my bitch ass relatives and I will reward you greatly." The lamb smiles, and back to his makeshift camp, he starts producing faith for his God. His main goals right now are just to get money, fame, some bitches, and gold. Oh, and get followers and, kill the gods, but, that's, like, not that important. So he heads out in the forest and starts killing some worms. He then meets up with this green worm named Leslie. Leslie then says, the lamb wasn't listening to all that, so he just continued on crusading until he met face to face with one of his goons. Now, of course, Leslie being the Bishop of Chaos, his goons are just like bushes and some tree stumps. And eventually the lamb makes his way towards Leslie and absolutely mollywops him. He kills him, steals his heart, then makes his way to his god. He says, "Hey, nice, dab me up. I'm the one who waits, by the way." The lamb smirks and heads back to camp and continues being a leader. Oh, and the lamb also meets like these other characters like So in like this mushroom area. And then you also got the like lighthouse keeper, this fisherman, also this like old guy that claims to be a leader back then and hits you with wisdom like, "I remember back in my day, this is how you can lead your cult." It doesn't even matter, the lamb just looks at them funny. Then the lamb decides to go deeper into the forest, into this mushroom filled one, right? And then he meets up with another god, this frog god. Her name is Heke, and she first speaks to the lamb, saying, "I will starve." Of course, the lamb only knows true emotion, which is happiness, and proceeds on. Later, after beating up a random frog, Heke comes out, and she says, "Bow to me, or your followers will starve." And of course, the lamb does not bow, because its followers were already starving. So really, Heke didn't do a thing. Eventually, just like before, the lamb comes face to face with Heke. The lamb rolls a 20 and defeats her. Takes her heart, goes to the one who waits, and says, "Nice." She croaks. The lamb never breaks his smile and heads back to his cult to lead his cult after a good crusade. Now that the lamb has gone 2 for 2, the other bishops are a little worried now, especially when the lamb makes it to this weird ocean place. This is the home to Calamar. Calamar greets the lamb and says, "Hey, you better give up right now. You wanna know this trouble, big guy?" And of course the lamb responds like he does with everyone else. Positivity. Calamar says, "Fine, I will make one of your followers sick to make you reconsider what you're doing." And obviously that didn't work because those followers are already sick. He says, "Fine, not one, I will make 5 of them sick." And of course that still doesn't do anything. So after kicking around his goons, he makes face to face with Calamar. He then hits him with "Insignificant
critter, you will learn your place. You do not understand.
Heed my warning and stay
Away.
And then they commence their battle. And after the lamb figured out how exactly they're breathing in this place, he comes out victorious. And steals his heart, goes back to his god. He says, and then goes back to the cult. So that's 3 gods down. And the lamb is really powerful now. He's got his cult making food, they're farming, they're cooking, they're doing like all this stuff for him now. And of course, the lamb is like, dang, I'm really strong now. Hooray! And thus that leaves one more god left, Shamora. Once the lamb makes it into the spider den, which is extremely weird, and horrifying to be, Shamora greets the lamb and thus says,
cease.
The lamb was about to walk away, ignoring this nonsense. However, Shamora, they had an ace up their sleeve. They then summoned one of the lamb's followers to fight them in combat. And after Shamora skedaddles, this was no easy task for the lamb, It was even easier. They do this all the time, so they easily defeated their follower. Then Shamor decides maybe we should intimidate the lamb a little bit more than just one time. Then he comes back to the lamb and says, "Bow to me, you filth." And the lamb, of course, refuses. Then he summons waves of enemies to try to stop him. Waves of spiders. And once that didn't work, he went back and summoned 2 of his followers to fight against him. And of course, this is an easy task for our lamb, as he mollywops his followers, showing no remorse for them because they overcooked his food. With nowhere to run, Shamor comes face to face with the lamb, and thus, battle commenced. In the midst of the battle, the lamb pressed Ctrl-Alt-Delete, and just like that, Shamora was no more. Back to the pearly gates, the one who waits greets the lamb and says, "Ha, nice, you killed my bitch-ass relatives. I ate all of them, and now with their hearts, their chains are gone, and I can be free. Meet me at the pearly white gates, and I have something for you." Treating her cult for the last time, the lamb makes her way to the pearly white gates, which are open. He arrives back at Nowheresville, where Squidward found himself when he was alone. Narinda greets the lamb and says, "Hey, it's great that you killed all my relatives, but I kind of need that crown back, so can you give it back? You know, I gave you power, and I helped you survive from certain death." However, after all the bonds he's created at his own cult, the lamb refuses to give back the power of the red crown. Narinda then goes, "Oh, you want to fight then? Okay, dog number 1, go fetch him." And then dog number 1 goes and attacks the lamb. However, he falls off the stage and loses his stock. Then dog number 2 jumps into the ring, fights the lamb. However, mid-battle, they drop their controller and it disconnects. And eventually, they are defeated as well. Narinder then realizes that he must fight the lamb himself. And eventually, they start fighting. They're boxing fiercely. However, the lamb has grown so powerful that even he can't defeat him. Eventually, he has to turn the tables by transforming into his second form. He removes his 3 eyes from his skull and starts attacking the lamb with everything he's got. However, the lamb, practicing his wave dash before this fight, he was unable to hit him and thus lost the battle. And then the lamb was presented with a choice. Because Narinder was defeated, he didn't have to take his heart. Instead, he could have killed him or he could have recruited him into the cult. It was up to the lamb to decide what he wanted to do with his former master. He looks at his master, hands him 20 bucks, and thus recruits him to the cult. And then the next day they got married. I was even there. It was a great day for all of us. And then eventually the other bishops rised out of the ground and said, "Hey, we're not dead. Ha." And then the lamb just promptly went over and, did the same thing that he did to the one who waits. There was also a bunch of other things he did, but most of it wasn't really that important anyways. It was a weird ass cellar that made him spin a roulette, and then a cat, but it doesn't matter, trust me. Anyways, that's the story of our leader, the lamb, and how exactly he came into power. It's pretty cool, right?